Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Military Money Manual podcast. Today on the podcast, I'm joined by two of the three founders of the Military Travelers Facebook group. Today, we've got Amy and Taryn. Lisa can't join us, unfortunately, today. These three military spouses, Amy, Lisa, and Taryn, started the Military Travelers Facebook group, which now has over 25,000 military spouses, service members, and veterans. In the group, they share tips, tricks, and insider information on award travel and military credit cards. If you've listened to probably any episode of the podcast, you know that we love talking about the benefits that military service members and military spouses can get on some of the best credit cards available in the United States. So today we're going to talk a lot about that. We're going to clear up 4 military credit card myths, and we're just going to have a great conversation about military credit cards, military spouses. So Amy, Taryn, welcome to the podcast. Glad to have you here.
Awesome. Thank you, Spencer.
Yes, thank you so much for having us.
How did the Military Travelers Facebook group come to be?
So the Facebook group came to be 100% by Lisa. She started the group back in 2021. We were stationed at Fort Leavenworth. I was actually stationed. Both of our spouses were doing a course at the same time. She started the Facebook group. I just knew her. She was one of my neighbors. Our kids were in the same class. And she kept going on all these trips. And I kept asking, like, what are you doing? And so she brought me into her basement and laid the ropes out for me. And I think within a month, I had a card. Within 2 months, I was going on a free ski trip. I got wrapped in real quick. So she started the group. You know, it quickly grew. Taryn all of a sudden joined the group. Taryn is just a wealth of knowledge. I call her like the human encyclopedia. Once the group really just started growing, I reached out to Lisa and was like, hey, let's try and turn this into something more. So we created a website and we asked Taryn to join us. And my favorite story is meeting Taryn for the first time. How long had we known each other? Like almost a year. We've been working together
2 years, maybe
2 years, and had never actually met her in person. Met her for the first time when we all traveled over to Vienna to watch Taylor Swift, which we unfortunately did not get to watch because it got canceled.
We were there making friendship bracelets, and then it got canceled, but
we redeemed ourselves. We did get to go to New Orleans, but we did meet her for the first time in Salzburg. Yeah, and so really since 2021, it just has grown exponentially. So, and now, you know, we're here today with websites, Instagram, Facebook, and really picking up steam.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how fast these things can kind of take off and grow, right? Like if I talked to you 4 years ago and would have said, hey, in 4 years, you're going to have over 25,000 people in your Facebook group, you would have been like, we don't even have 100 yet.
The Facebook group wasn't even called the Military Traveler. I don't remember even what it was.
It was the military hacker, travel hackers.
Travel hackers.
It was like something spouses. It was just for spouses originally.
Oh, yeah. It was like the military, the travel spouses or something.
Yeah, I can't even remember. And it was like maybe a couple hundred people and then 1,000. And then we were like, let's open it up to not just spouses. And now it's not even just
we have
military.
Like civilian. I mean,
we have a lot of civilians in there too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I mean, the information that you're putting out, right, is relevant to not just military service members, military spouses, veterans, but really to the whole, everybody who's eligible for a U.S. credit card.
Just trying to get out how to travel for less to anybody who wants to listen, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so great. I mean, I love how the first meeting for the founders was overseas, you know, at a concert, and you probably all use some kind of points or miles to get there.
Yeah, we all flew business class there and back and used points and miles for like the whole way.
Yeah, it was mine and Lisa's first business class experience. Well, actually, so Iberia was our way there, which I know a lot of people are like, I had a fabulous time. I loved my business class. And then I flew Brussels on the way home, which was really, really great. I
did Polaris on the way over, and then I did Austrian business class on the way home.
All of our flights were paid for with points. All of our hotels were paid for with points. And we didn't just do Vienna. We started in Milan and then made our way to Munich, Salzburg, and then Vienna. And so I think the only thing we paid cash for were the tickets, which were
and food,
substantially cheaper.
Yeah.
In Vienna.
I actually brought along 3 other people with me who are all civilian. I mean, they have no military affiliation at all, just friends. But I got them all into this too. So they all came along and all went off points and miles too. They only paid for their tickets to the concert as well. That's
awesome.
Definitely doable for other people too, if you do pay annual fees.
Yeah. That's what I try to tell military people. It's like, there's a whole, go look at the points guide, go look at upgraded points. The civilians are doing this just like even more so than the military, and they're paying annual fees and they're still making it work. So like when you get this huge asymmetric advantage and you're not taking advantage of it, or you're hesitant to jump into it because you're like, oh, I don't know if the value is really there. To me, but you kind of had to experience it, right? Because when someone just came up to you and talked to you about it, you're like, first of all, this sounds like a scam. Like, what are you trying to sell me here? It sounds way too good to be true. And I get it. It does sound like all those things. So you kind of do need to know someone who's doing it, ease into it, and take it slow. And I think that's that's a great place to start, right? Is to just kind of get that first card. And for a lot of people, I'd like to point them to, especially if they're like very hesitant, the Chase Sapphire Preferred, right? It's only a $95 annual fee. So like, even if I'm lying to you about the annual fee waivers, which I'm not, but if that's not accurate information, worst case scenario, you're out $95. And if you meet the minimum spending bonus requirements, then you're going to earn, I think at the moment it's like 100,000 points. So, you can just cash that out for $1,000, and you just paid $95 to earn $1,000. It's, that's a pretty good return on investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't we start? I really like how your group is military spouse centric, because one of the hardest things I have to do on my site and my course and the podcast is because a lot of people hear about the military annual fee waivers for active duty and guard and reserves on 30 plus day orders, active orders. But not a lot of people understand that these military fee waivers also apply to the military spouse. So why don't we start there with the first of our 4 myths? Is it true that the annual fee is only waived for the active duty service member?
So thankfully, that is not true. We are both military spouses right here in flesh, and we do not pay annual fees on any of our personal cards from Chase, Amex, or Citi. So the reason we always try to tell people to get we call them P2. So really quickly, that just means your player 2. So your spouse or whoever your player 2 might be. We try to get them involved is because that means now you're getting double the benefits. So let's say, for example, the Chase Sapphire Reserve, the first person gets a $300 credit, annual travel credit. And then if your spouse gets it too, then now that's $600 every year that you're getting. Like, it refreshes annually. And the same goes with, if you were to have the Amex Brilliant, you get a free award night every year. Like, these are built in free perks that you're getting every single year just by both of you holding the card and not paying the annual fees. Yep.
I should go back and say, to clarify, Lisa started this group on this myth, that annual fees were not waived for spouses. I think she says it was her mom that told her that. And she was like, what? And Lisa found out I could get the same card. And she realized nobody else really knew this. And so that's really what spurred the group and geared towards spouses. And then I think we also, with it, we'll make posts or people will ask the question, is the annual fee waived for me? My husband or my wife, if they're the service member, they have their fees waived. Is it really waived for me? And, we'll say, yes, it is. And someone will say, well, I also have that card as an authorized user. So we want to make sure people are understanding we are not talking about authorized user. We are talking about you having your own card, your own Chase login. It is your own account
with your social, and it's your account, under your name. So yeah, that is definitely a big misconception.
I feel like, and I'm going to generalize a little bit here, but it's still true to say that most military service members are male and most military spouses are female. And I feel like I'm a bit of a feminist and doing a female empowerment movement here, because I'm like, listen, you are your own person. You have your own social security number. You can open up your own accounts. You don't have to be an authorized user on your husband's account. I mean, actually, but it's pretty crazy because I think until the 1980s even, wives couldn't open up their own credit cards, their own bank accounts without their husbands being on the account.
We get this question a lot in the group, and they're like, well, I don't have an income because I'm a stay-at-home mom. And we actually verified with Amex to have it in writing, but there's a part on the Amex application that says like income source, and it says military, and you can, as a spouse, put that down. They are fine with that. And when you are applying, a lot of mistakes that we see as the spouse is they put no income, and then they come back and say they didn't get approved. But make sure that you are applying and you're using your household income, because that is what they're looking for. When you're applying and it says gross annual income, it's asking for household income. And yeah, that's definitely a mistake that we see a lot. Yeah. And then people get discouraged because then they get denied for their first card, and then they kind of back out and they're like, oh, I'm not going to keep going with this because I got denied. But it's really just because of that one thing. So if that can help someone, I hope it does.
The other thing too is for military, like a lot of our compensation is untaxed, right? So usually when you're filling out the credit card application, it'll say, household income, and then it'll say like, do you have any like untaxed income, alimony, child support, disability benefits? And if like, for instance, if you're a veteran, you're receiving VA disability compensation, then you could, that's the place to put it. If you're a active duty military service member, I mean, you can just look at your income and just throw it all into that income line, but some of your income is untaxed. And so if you're receiving BAH, BAS, CZTE, or COLA, for example. So if you want to, you can just throw that into the untaxable entitlements that you're receiving. When I was active duty, I usually just kind of rounded, like if I was making $10,000 a month as a senior captain, I just threw in $120,000, and the same thing for my spouse as well when she would apply.
And I will just say also that that's another mistake we see too, is they'll apply and only include base pay. And if that's all you're including for maybe someone who's just getting into the military, that could hinder your application too. So make sure you're putting your full pay, everything that you're getting.
I think that's a great point. We could probably just end the podcast there, because if we could just convince military spouses that you are your own person, you can apply for your own card. You don't need to be an authorized user on your spouse's card. You can be. The other misconception I see too is someone says, oh, I already have an Amex Platinum card through my husband or wife. Am I still eligible for my own? And the answer is yes. You're an authorized user over here, and you can also be over here, and you can add your spouse as an authorized user. I mean, a lot of people think that like the rules of the game are really strict, but they're kind of just, as long as you're coming in with good intentions and, you're going to make pay your statement balances on time, there's not a whole, you're not tricking anybody here by opening up your own account. They want you as a customer, right? Like they're in the business of adding card users to their bank. And so American Express, Chase City, Bank of America, all these banks that are waiving annual fees for military service members and military spouses, they want you as a customer.
And then you are in a unique situation where your wife, I believe, was foreign, right? Because we get that question a lot in our group about if you're a foreign military spouse and how they can get this.
Yeah, that's a great question. So she was a 90-day fiance. She came in on a fiance visa, and we got married, and part of that application process was she had an alien number, which is always like the funniest thing. Like, she's an alien, from like outer space. So she had an alien number, and then eventually she got a social security number, and then she got a green card. And I think we were able to get her into DEERS with the alien number. But then once she had the social security number issued, we had to go back to DEERS. And this is something that catches up a lot of people when they do have a non-US citizen spouse, is the alien number or some other number ends up in DEERS as kind of like their identifier number. What you need to do is get that updated to the social security number. So once she had a social security number, then she was in DEERS, then she was in the MLA database, Military Lending Act database, and then she was eligible for her own annual fee waived cards. But in order to be approved for the cards, she needed a credit score, right? She needed a credit report, and she was coming from a country that just wasn't a thing, and she had no credit file in the United States. So The easiest thing that we were able to do is first, I just added her as an authorized user to some of my cards. Immediately, especially for the older cards, it looks like she has 10 years of credit history because that trade line was, established 10 years ago. And I had made all the payments on time as well. So she immediately has, a good payment record. She has a trade line that's been open for several years. And so, that all goes into giving her a good credit score. So I think so. And like right off the bat, she was up to like a 720, 740 credit score. And then if you, as the US citizen or the service member who's getting married to a non-US citizen spouse, and you don't have that kind of credit history, another option to do is open up a secured credit card. So USAA, PenFed, Navy Federal, all of these military-friendly banks will have a secured credit card where you put $200, $300, $500 in a savings account connected to the card. That becomes your credit limit. You go out, use it like a credit card, pay the statement balance on time, and then they start reporting to Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, the three big credit bureaus. And that kind of establishes your credit report. Wait 3 to 6 months. You should have about over a 700 credit score, probably mid 700s. And then you should be able to kind of start your journey of opening up these military annual fee waived cards. What do you recommend you start for once you kind of have established that?
Our group members have had the best luck with the gold. They start with the gold. And then once they have that for a little bit, Chase Sapphire wants 1 year of credit first. Mm-hmm. If they were to start there with Chase, it would be like the Rise or the Unlimited or something like that. But yeah, the gold is what the feedback we've gotten, people have had the best luck getting immediately, after a little bit of time being an authorized user or something like that.
And that's a great Amex card to start with too, because of the new Amex family language rules. If you get the platinum bonus first, you're not going to be eligible most likely for the gold or the green bonuses. But if you get the gold first, you earn the gold bonus, Amex gold card, then you should still be eligible for the Amex platinum card bonus, depending on the application rules. But usually about 90, 91 days, you should be able to apply for another Amex card. That was a lot of great information. I'm really excited about that. I hope that's going to help a lot of military spouses. Another myth that I encounter is people will say, I just put all my spending on one card and that's going to earn me enough points so that I can book award tickets, book hotels, and I can take free vacations every year. What would you say to that?
This is a huge part of our group when they join is like, well, we have the Amex Platinum and we put all of our spend on our Amex Platinum and we have so many points. We have like 20,000 points. And I know people listening will be like, wait, that's me. They're talking about me right now, because that's what we hear that all the time. And unfortunately, 20,000 points just isn't going to get you, or, that big trip to Europe completely paid for. So what we like to teach in our group is how to strategically open multiple cards, get the welcome offers, and then use those points. And what we're doing is we're not spending any more money on these new cards that we're opening up. We're just shifting our money, shifting how we're spending our money. So we open up, let's say the Gold Amex, it's $6,000 in 6 months. So once we've worked our way to that, earning our bonus on that one, then we open up, the Chase Sapphire Reserve, and then we have our 3-month window to spend and get that welcome offer. And the way we like to describe it is that if you were to put all of your spend on just your Amex Platinum, earning 1 times back for the whole year, let's say you spend, let's say $30,000 a year. That's everything, daycare, groceries, gas, everything. You get 30,000 points for the year. So you can go get a hotel maybe, or maybe a international flight, like one way or something like that. But if you were to take that same spend and move that and shift it over to new welcome offers, you could end up with hundreds of thousands of points because you've opened up 4 cards, because you just shifted your spend over. And that's how we're able to take the trips that we're taking, is because we're just we're shifting our spend over to a new card with a new offer and new benefits.
When people see some of the trips that we take, and I mean, I've had people message me, or people in our group will say, how are y'all doing this? Like, I'm not getting it. And when I first started, I was the same way. I was like, what am I not understanding? Like, how are they doing this? Or are they lying and like booking it with cash and saying it was points? Like, how are they physically getting this many points? I realized I wasn't playing the same game. They're playing a totally different game. And that was opening multiple cards. I was playing the game by putting all my spend on one card. So I was comparing apples to oranges. I tell Taryn all the time, like, I need people to understand that like, don't look at what we're doing and think, why can't I do that? If you are not understanding how we are getting those points. And for some people, maybe they're not comfortable doing that. And that's okay. If all you are comfortable with is 1 or 2 cards, then you just have to know that flying business class to Europe a few times a year and staying at really nice resorts multiple times a year is just not going to be, pun not intended, in the cards for you. Like,
yes,
it will.
It's just going to take much longer.
It's just going to take
build
longer.
Up to that,
I just want to like break that facade a little bit. We do have a fun visual. It's one of our favorites. We'll post it every now and then in our group, and it's a comparison of what we call the casual earner and the sub lover. And it's a visual graphic, and it talks about what is our casual earner's name is Jessica. And we go through Jessica spending basically what Taryn just said, spending this, X amount of dollars and earns a few points. Sarah, our sub lover, spends the same amount of money, but multiple cards and earns hundreds of thousands of points. And we try and post that graphic. It's in our beginner's guide just to like really hone in on this idea that
you're not one and done.
You could be, but if you want to like step up to the level where you're flying business class to Europe, staying in free hotels, and you're doing that not just once, but you're going to do it every year for the next, while you're on active duty, you got to step up your game.
Like me, I'm a family of 5 now, so business class might be drifting away here because I have to use my points now for all of my little creatures that I have with me.
You've got all the gremlins trailing you now.
We're earning enough points to be able to like travel as a family.
And there's a great blog out there, Points with a Crew. I think he has 6 or 7 kids. And he still travel hacks and does war travel, but most of it I think is an economy because he's like, I'm just trying to make it. One thing with that great example, actually, sorry, it was Amy that was talking about Jessica, spending $30,000 a year. If you're putting it on your Amex Platinum card and you're only getting 1%, and then let's say you're doing something silly like just cashing your points out, you're getting about $300 of value. So you spend $30,000, you get about $300 of value. But if you're opening up $30,000, that's, that could be $5,000-$6,000 minimum spends or $5,000 minimum spends. And depending on, what the bonus is, but figure, it's 100,000 to 150,000 points, maybe even higher, 175, 200,000 points, you're earning an effective cash back of 25 to 30%. So all of a sudden your $30,000 of spend becomes $7,500 of hotels and airfare and other perks and benefits. Yeah. And so you just moved from, on the 1%, the casual, you moved from $300 of value a year to $7,500 a year. So you're 25x your original. And sure, it does take a little bit more effort, but once you if you're systematic about it, it can just kind of be like, there's a week of every quarter where you apply for the card, you receive the new card, you set up the new card, and you have like your little checklist, like, okay, move all the, recurring subscriptions over here. For some people, they just keep the subscriptions on a card and they just hand the authorized user card to their player 2 and say, here, honey, all the spending for the next 3 months goes on this card. And before you know it, you've earned, what would that be? I mean, probably 500,000 points in a year, depending on Chase, Amex, Hilton, Marriott. And another point that I wanted to mention there too was going back to our first point was referring your spouse. A lot of people miss that you can send a referral link if you have a card already, let's say a Chase Sapphire Reserve, and your spouse wants to open one up, or you want to open one on behalf of your spouse. You can send him or her the Chase Sapphire Reserve referral link. And then once they open up the card, you're going to get the referral bonus, and then they're going to earn the welcome bonus. And on Chase points, you can combine points in the household as well, which is a really good boost and can really help people out there. One question I had with, when we're talking about like opening up like 4 or 5, 6 cards a year is, what do you recommend for people to keep track of so many cards? Do you have any apps or spreadsheets, or how do you keep track of it all?
Well, remember earlier I said Taryn is a human encyclopedia,
Mine just lives here, but travel freely is where it should be.
Yes.
Travel freely.
We are big
Mine
fans, and when I say we, me and Lisa, Taryn loves it.
Yes,
she just doesn't need it, but I absolutely. When I want to say, by the time my husband and I were both back and forth, he'd get it, then I get it. By the time we were each at about 4-ish cards per person per bank, that's where I was like, I need a little bit more help. I'm not a huge fan of like throwing things in my notes app when I need things to be updated. So travel freely is what I use. It's what we promote in our group. It's really, really wonderful. When you apply for a card, you plug it in and it will track when your sign up bonus deadline is. So it's going to send you reminders. It will
tell you the benefits.
It's going to tell you, like, oh, this card, here's the benefits of this card and here's the multipliers. And
it tracks your P1 and your P2, which is super nice. It tells you both of them.
I think it even has a military mode too that you can turn on.
For certain cards that I do pay annual fees on, which are like business cards or maybe a card from another bank, it will send me an email and say, hey, you've got an annual fee due coming up in a month. So I get those reminders. It helps me. It'll send me an alert like, hey, it's time to apply for your next card. Mm-hmm. They go off of the 90-day rule. Sometimes we can be a little bit more aggressive depending on our goals that we have. And I might be doing some applications about 30 days apart. Just depends. But if, so usually I'm in there updating it before it's even telling me to. But it will track like, hey, okay, now it's P1's turn to get a card. Now it's P2's turn. It just is a really, really, really great organizational tool. And what I love is it is not actually tied to the bank accounts. So when you're setting this app up, you have to tell it what card you're getting and the information that it needs, but it's not tied to your bank account. So it's not tracking my spend. And that's okay. But I know for some people that's a concern. They don't want to mix their financial accounts with apps. It doesn't do that, which I appreciate. And then briefly, I'll also say they also have what's called a card genie. So if you're struggling with what card to get next, first, go to our Facebook group and ask us because our group's amazing and we have wonderful recommendations. But it will also, based on the current card that you have, it factors in all of the different bank rules and it's going to tell you like what you're eligible for and what they recommend based on the current highest offers. And it can just kind of help you go down the list and kind of decide what card do I want to go for next. So that feature is really cool too.
Yeah, we had Zach Hood, the founder of Travel Freely, on the podcast episode 112 about 2 years ago. He actually ended up living near me in a foreign country, which was kind of funny. It's a very small world. But yeah, he's a great guy. They built a really awesome tool over there. So we'll put the link to that in the show notes. But yeah, big fan of the Travel Freely app to help keep track of stuff. I'm a bit old school. I still keep some of my spreadsheets as well. And I will say that the apps that the banks make have actually gotten so much better in the last couple of years where now when you open up a card, it'll have the bonus tracker. I think it's in every Capital One. I've seen it, Chase.
It's not for co-branded cards yet.
Yeah.
Okay, not for co-brand. Okay.
And they're also doing better at like tracking like your credits, like your StubHub credits with CSR, your mining credits. So I don't feel the need to have outside apps for my yearly benefit tracking like I felt like I might have needed even just a year ago. I was doing some spreadsheet stuff on that.
They've gotten really good at the like, oh, Saks credit, you've used it or you haven't. Lululemon credit, you use it, you haven't. So I do appreciate that because that's really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, the StubHub credit, I just used the other day. It actually worked on the Japanese version of StubHub. So if anybody's stationed in Okinawa or Yokota or anywhere else in Atsugi, where else is over here, Misawa, if anybody's stationed in Japan, you have Chase Sapphire Reserve, you can use it on the Japanese StubHub and it does trigger the credit. I got 2 tickets to go see a sumo wrestling match. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah.
Just a quick note from one of our sponsors, and we'll be right back to the show. Hey, Spencer, I've heard about this free Amex Platinum card for military service members. Where can I go to learn more about this?
Great question, Jamie. I've got the Ultimate Military Credit Cards course at militarymoneymanual.com/Amex. UMC3. It's a 100% free email-based course, and I explain exactly how to verify your eligibility for credit card annual fee waivers with the Military Lending Act, or MLA, and the Service Member Civil Relief Act, or SCRA. The Ultimate Military Credit Cards course is a beginner's guide to travel hacking and opening up your first annual fee-waived credit card while you or your spouse serves in the U.S. military. There's no spam, no fluff, and the only emails you'll get from me are related to military credit cards. You can unsubscribe at any time, and there's zero cost to you to sign up. You can sign up right now for free at militarymoneymanual.com/UMC3. Again, militarymoneymanual.com/uniform Mike Charlie 3.
And now back to the show.
2 more questions for myths. And I get this one too from a lot of people, usually in person though. It's funny. This one doesn't come up as much online, maybe because I've kind of covered it, but people will say, oh, you must have a lot of debt if you're opening up all these credit cards and taking all these vacations. Like, isn't that bad for your credit score, having all that credit card debt? And I had this misconception too, because I grew up in a Dave Ramsey household, and I thought that the moment you opened up a credit card debt, it was a lifetime of debt slavery, and you were just like, there was no escaping it. You were gonna end up with $100,000 of credit card debt just from opening up your first credit card. And I guess like nobody really took the time to explain to me, like, no, you have to like spend $100,000 and not pay it back to get into credit card debt. So anyways, what if you're opening up, 20, 30 cards, surely you have a lot of credit card debt, right?
So thankfully that's another myth. And no, we treat our credit cards exactly like a debit card. We're not overspending with this hobby. We're just shifting our normal spend to a new card. We're putting it on auto pay. We're, again, not overspending. I can't stress that enough. Sorry. It's just, you're not spending more to like get free vacations. You're just moving your spend from one place to another, swiping a different card, putting a different card number in when you do auto pay for your car insurance or whatever it might be. So, yep, thankfully, zero debt, and would like to keep it that way.
Yeah.
I'm the same way, where treat it like a debit card. Just because you have access to all of this credit doesn't mean you ever have to touch it. And when I was younger and not making as much money as a lieutenant, I did get stuck in kind of a paycheck to paycheck cycle. But that really wasn't the credit card's fault. I would have been in that cycle as well, even if I'd been using a debit card. One thing I always try to emphasize to people is like, this is an advanced strategy, right? So it's like, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, if you're struggling with credit card debt, this is not a get out of jail free card. You need to sort that stuff out first, build your emergency fund, contribute to your TSB, contribute to your Roth IRA. Okay, you've done all that. Okay, now let's talk. This is a advanced strategy that I want to make sure anybody who's going to start doing this, they have their ducks in a row before they dive into this world. And I would really hope that, before they open up the Amex Platinum, because I hear about people all the time who open up an Amex Platinum card, they don't have enough natural spending, so they miss the welcome bonus. And then somehow they end up with like $8,000 of credit card debt because they never make the payments on it. And so when I hear about that, I'm like, no, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it completely wrong. Start over, go back to zero, get your financial house in order, and then let's talk about this strategy. They think that you can just jump into this straight away, but I tend to tell people, no, this is something that, this is a game that you can play once you've kind of gotten all the foundational things in order.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to add too that we talk a lot about travel in our group because that's what we love to do with our points. But if you are just like, listen, I'm not in a season of life where traveling multiple times a year is, we have so many kids, they're newborns, whatever it might be. At the end of the day, it's your points. Like, you can do what you want with them. And if it means more for you to take and cash out your points, like, we're not here to judge. And like you said before, if you were to sign up for the preferred card and whatever let's say it's $1,000 back that you're getting and it costs you, or no, it doesn't cost you because you're not paying the annual fee, excuse me. It's $1,000 you could put into your 401k or into your IRA for the year, or whatever you might need, So I just want to say that, like, yes, we love to promote travel and use your points for travel and stuff like that. But if you're getting these cards with no annual fee, just know that we won't judge you if there's other ways that you want to use your sign-up bonuses and things like that.
It boils down to making your money work for you
mm-hmm.
instead of not. So however you want that, we are at a place in life where we want it to go towards vacations. But yeah, I mean, we have people in our group all the time who are like,
we just want cash back.
Yeah.
We just want, and so we will help you form that strategy. Like that, if that is what's important to you is cash back, like we're not going to force you to be like, yeah, no, you have to go take a trip or whatever. So,
I think, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? It's like so I'm always calculating the effective cash back, right? So if I spend $5,000 and I'm going to get $1,000 in value out of it, that's a 20% effective cash back, right? Like there are no credit cards that are offering you a 20% cash back unless you consider the welcome bonus as part of the effective cash back. And this is an idea actually that Zach Hood from Travel Freely introduced me to. He has another site called Cash Freely, which is more focused on getting cash back. And in a year, if you have $30,000 of spend and you earn $7,500, that's 25% effective cash back. That could fully max out a Roth IRA. And the thing with that is now, and you can do that with the same strategy that you would use to book award travel. So Chase points, American Express points, Capital One points, Citi points, all of these points you can turn to cash somehow. The American Express is just a little bit trickier because you have to have the Charles Schwab American Express Platinum card. But at the end of the day, you're still earning welcome bonuses, and then you can either convert it into travel experiences, which you do get a lot of value out of that in terms of a point basis. But again, like you said, if you're not in that time or season of life and you just want cash, maybe you're trying to pay off some student loan debt, or maybe you're just saving for a wedding or something, you can turn those points into cash, and it's such a good use. And you're still getting 20-25% cash back effective on your spend when you're opening up these cards. And again, if you're in the military, you're not paying the annual fees on it. So for a little bit of work, it's not that hard.
Yeah, we had a post about how you could use your benefits to help with like Christmas gifts and things like that. To help save money during the holiday season. There's just so many credits that come with these cards, and so there's a lot of ways to save money by using the credits and things like that too. And you're not paying the fee. So
I have a friend who uses a budget tracking app. I think he uses YNAB, and he has a category for credits from, and perks from his credit card. So every time he gets, $300 Chase Sapphire Reserve, or whatever, he marks it. And last year he was looking and he had almost $15,000 of credits.
I did mine for a blog, and it was $18,000 is what I came up with of all of mine.
It's one of our most recent blogs.
That's insane. I mean, that's two fully maxed Roth IRAs.
Yeah. So that was just benefits that I get from all the cards that I hold. Well, my husband and I both hold. They renew every year. So that's $18,000 of things I'm getting every single year. And
that's not even including the annual fees.
Yeah, no annual fees. And we have a Delta card and we're not near a Delta hub. So I made sure to not include things that we're not actually using. I don't use the Aura ring. I didn't use that. Like if I truly, the Aura ring, I know. But I didn't even include the Delta companion pass in that. That could have been a couple, however much, $100 more, because I am not where I'm using that right now. So just the benefits that we truly use on all of our cards was $18,000. So yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah. That really that's a great demonstration of the value of opening up the cards. And even if you didn't earn the welcome bonuses, which obviously we highly recommend that you earn the welcome bonuses because there's huge value in there. But even if you just opened up the cards and held them for the annual benefits, when you're not paying the annual fees in the military, it's a no-brainer. Okay. The final myth, and I kind of alluded to in the last question, but you must have bad credit if you've opened up 20 or 30 credit cards, surely. Surely you have a bad credit score and it's hard to get loans.
Well, thankfully, they're not going to keep extending me more credit if I have a bad score. So I do not, no. So last year, I think I opened 8, and I think my husband opened 7 and 8, one of us. And we both usually sit, the lowest I think we dipped was 780, because again, it can fluctuate for sure. But we usually always sit, I'd say around right at 800, somewhere in there. And we just did this talk with you the other day, but at the end of the day, it just doesn't matter. Once you get past 750, I'd rather have my $18,000 of free benefits than having an 850 credit score. But no, it does not. You actually get if you open more cards, you have more available credit in your whole score. And so your utilization ratio is going to be better, because you're not putting, if you're only utilizing, 5,000 of your 100,000 available credit, you're at such a low ratio now. So it actually helps your score.
Our credit score has been at its best since we started this hobby. And I mean, I feel like that's a testament to the fact that we continue to open more cards and our score has only got higher. So 100% it's a myth, but it was 100% the myth I believed.
Oh, yeah.
That and maybe the debt one, like I was always like, they must be in debt. But for sure, I thought, oh, these people's credit scores is probably like horrible, which it also is like, well, it can't be.
Yeah.
Like if they're sitting here saying they opened up 7 cards in a year, like it can't be bad.
The reason that you have a high credit score is because lenders have recognized that you are responsible with credit. So they want to extend more credit to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always just come back to it. And we talked about this in a recent webinar we did, which if you head to the Military Travelers Facebook group, you can check it out there, where we talked about military spouse credit scores and just kind of broke down exactly what goes into a credit score. But at a high level, 80% of your credit score is your payment history, your credit utilization. So how much of your available credit do you spend every month? Do you use every month? And then your 15% is your credit history. So just how long have you had credit cards or any loans at all? And that's 80% of it. And so only 10% of your credit score is your request for new credit. So if you think about that, if you have an 850 credit score, right? 10% of that would be 85. So let's say that you applied for, 6 cards in 6 months or whatever, and your score dropped half, right? Of the 85, it would go down 42 points. Well, if you had a 800 credit score, now your score is 760. And we were just talking about this, Taryn, the other day. There's no, special club if you have an 850 credit score. Like you don't get any perks, any benefits once you're above kind of that 740 to 760 range. Lenders just treat you as, you have excellent credit and you're going to get access to the best mortgage rates, the best auto loan rates, and you're going to be able to basically apply for any credit cards that you want and get approved. Well, ladies, thank you both so much for joining me on the show today to dispel some of the most common myths that you see from now on whenever you get these questions. And you will continue to get these questions in your Facebook group, but just send them to this podcast episode, and hopefully it'll clear up a lot of misconceptions. Where can people find the group, and where else can they find you on the web?
Yeah, so they can find us on Facebook. You can type in Military Travelers. It is a private Facebook group. We do, just understanding our community, we do want to, maintain as much privacy as possible. So we do have people, not really apply, but when you join,
answer a couple questions,
and then, you're in the group. We have an Instagram. The handle is at the Military Travelers. And we also have a website. On our Instagram is links to all of these things. So if you find us on Instagram, then you will have a link to our Facebook page. There's a link to our website. Our website has tons of free resources. We've got a beginner's guide. So if you're just getting started, most of the myths we talked about are in there. A couple more, I think. We talk about like responsible spending, that type of stuff, and really how to get started. And then last year, we were really proud of this one. This took a while. We published it's called the Next Steps Guide. So learning how to earn points is phase 1. Phase 2 is learning how to use them. That could be a whole nother podcast. So we have a Next Steps Guide. And I would argue, these guys are really in depth. We're really passionate about having resources available for free, and people not having to pay to learn this. It's just something that we're passionate about. So we've got a lot of free resources on our website, our blogs. And then we did just this last year roll out one-on-one consults. So that's really the only thing that we have that is a paid fee to meet with one of us if you want some dedicated one-on-one, and it's like $20? $25.
30 minutes.
For
just to talk through strategy if you want to get started, or if you have questions about your next card, you want to help book a trip, anything and everything.
But the Facebook group is like truly, I feel like
super active. We have so many great members that help answer. Yeah, we're really proud of it.
It's really nice.
Yes, we have a nice group. There's some points and milestones. that are so mean.
It's like dog eat dog.
Yeah. So we really try to make sure that it's a nice, friendly environment where everyone is learning together.
You'd think that'd be like such a simple thing to do, but I think it just really shows like that all three of you as founders, your hearts are in the right place. You're trying to help fellow military spouses. You're trying to help the military community take advantage of these tremendous benefits. And I always tell people, right, like it's kind of vague in the law if the credit card companies are actually required to do this. So if you have any interest in doing it, I would strike while the iron's hot. And especially, we basically just eliminated, the current administration has eliminated the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, which enforce a lot of these military friendly benefits.
You want to be grandfathered in if something changes.
Yes, exactly. So if you have any interest in this, I would say head over to the Facebook group, check out Military Travelers, and check out their Instagram as well, their website. And yeah, thank you again, both of you, Amy and Taryn, for joining me on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Military Money Manual podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. This helps others find the show, and we really appreciate it. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
The views and opinions presented here are those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent the views of the DoD or its components. Reference to any commercial products or services does not constitute DoD endorsement of those products or services.